Okay, we're talking about the news today, boys. The news, my guy. I feel like I'm in a news, the most unprofessional news reporting situation of all time. What's up, guys? Andrew Boehner here, and on today's video, I figured we would go through some guitar websites that have released their 2021 lineup. Of course, normally around this time of year, I'm over at Namm in California, which I am very sad I'm not doing right now because instead I'm in Vancouver in the rain instead of California, sitting under palm trees, eating pizza with my friends. Big sad. But there's still new gear coming out, of course. A bunch of the bigger companies have already announced their 2021 lineups, and since I can't be there to try them myself, I figured we'd just take a look at their websites, and I'll show you guys some of the ones that caught my eye from a few different brands. Of course, not every brand has already released their lineups. There's a couple that I'm really looking forward to, such as Schecter. Of course, I've worked with Schecter on my channel before, so I'm really curious to see if maybe they'll send me something they're doing in 2021. I don't know, still waiting to hear about that, but that would be really cool. Also, of course, there's the teaser for that neural DSP plugin that's coming out soon. But anyways, let's move on. So we're gonna take a look at the Ibanez 2021 lineup first and foremost. Got my little laptop here because there's no way I'm gonna memorize all these names because Ibanez names are ridiculous, and definitely not gonna memorize all these specs. So let's take a look at Ibanez's website and see what we got. Okay, so moving on to Ibanez's website, there were a few things that caught my eye. Number one, there's a new 8-string for 2021. This one isn't anything too crazy. It is just an improvement on their RG8. As you guys know, I've talked about it before on my channel, but I think the RG8 is not a good 8-string guitar. I don't like that guitar at all. However, this is one of their premium models, so it's a little bit better. Well, actually a lot better because the base one is no good in my opinion. So this one has an iron pewter finish, which looks a lot nicer than that gloss black. And of course, it actually has gold hardware, which is nice. And the biggest improvement is, of course, that it has the Fishman Fluence modern humbucker pickups, which you can see there. So one of the absolute worst parts of the standard RG8 is definitely the pickups, because I'm pretty sure they are literally bass pickups that they just dropped in the guitar. They sound awful. So this will probably be like, I don't know, maybe like $800 US or so. So, you know, under $1,000, I'm gonna guess. There is no price on Ibanez's website, unfortunately, or if there is a price, it's not available in Canada. So yeah, this one looks kind of interesting. It's like a newer base model 8-string. I know that they released one like this a couple years ago, which was the Road Flare red one. So it was like an orangey finish, or I guess red technically, and that would have EMGs. This one has Fishmans, and in my opinion, this one actually looks a little better. I always like that white and gold setup with black. I don't know, looks really classy and pretty cool. The next one that caught my eye is the RGD61ALA, which is part of their Axion label. So again, that's their more premium, kind of like mid to high tier level. These ones have a little bit higher specs, but they're still made, I think, in Indonesia or Korea, one of the two, pretty sure Indonesia. So the reason I like the RGDs is, number one, it's, in my opinion, the best body shape that Ibanez makes. The RG is cool, but like, everyone in the world has an Ibanez RG. Not that many people have RGDs. It's just that slight little difference, that bevel on the top and those bevels in the horns, that make a big difference. It looks so much better in my opinion. And of course, the other big selling feature of the RGDs is that they are all baritone guitars, which obviously if you follow my channel, you know I'm all about baritone. So this one is a 26.5-inch scale length. So it's not too long, just a little bit of baritone. So again, you can tune down lower quite easily, probably to like the drop A or A standard range, maybe even drop G, somewhere around there. Should still sound pretty good. Yeah, and this one is pretty much like a matte black, but it does have this cool thing going on with the upper bevel, which is kind of like a blue to green to natural fade, which looks really cool. I kind of wish this was like on the back or on the inner horns as well. But I don't know, I mean, it's kind of cool that it's just like a nice little feature, like just a little something to make it not solid black without being overbearing. It's pretty cool. And this one, I believe, also features the Fishman modern pickups. Yeah, Fishman modern pickups. And yeah, so overall looks pretty cool. Again, it's just like a nice import model from Ibanez that's probably decently affordable. This one's probably a little more expensive, maybe around like $1,000, $1,200, I'm gonna guess. But again, don't quote me on that. Prices are not on their website at this point in time. And next, I'm moving on to the final Ibanez that caught my eye. This is the AZ24047 Prestige. So of course, this is the Prestige line from Ibanez, which is their most expensive model, or at least their most expensive model that consumers can buy outside of like J Custom or whatever. Prestige Ibanez's are, of course, like the A tier, the best Ibanez's you can buy. I have one personally, and I've had a bunch over the course of my life, and they're always amazing. So this one is really interesting because the AZ was announced a couple years ago. I know that the guys in Polyphia play them, I'm pretty sure. But this is, I believe, the first time they are offering a 7-string. If you want something that looks a little bit more classic, not like the flashy RG or the RGD, this one obviously looks a little bit more close to like something like a Strat or something like that. But of course, on this particular model, it has 7 strings. This one is a shorter scale length. It's just a 25.5 inch, so standard scale length. So again, maybe don't get this if you want to tune super low. Maybe I personally wouldn't advise that. Also, of course, it has a floating bridge, which I personally am not a fan of, but I know lots of people like that. So if you want a 7-string with a trem, pretty decent option. This one is probably gonna be pretty expensive though. I'm gonna guess like $2,500 US or so. But again, price is not available at this point in time. And yeah, this one's pretty cool. The specs don't look too crazy. Roasted maple neck, alder body. This one has the Seymour Duncan Hyperion pickups, which I have not heard of before, so I'm not sure if these were made specifically for Ibanez. Maybe, not sure. But yeah, overall a pretty cool looking guitar. If you're a shredder and you want 7 strings and a trem, this could be a good option for you. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to ESP guitars, who at this point in time, I'm gonna go ahead and say they have the most impressive lineup out of any company that has released their lineup so far by like quite a lot. There's tons of stuff on the 2021 lineup that I think is super sick looking. So we're gonna be taking a look at a lot of ESP guitars right now. Okay, so the first guitar we're gonna talk about from ESP is one of their signature models, and this one is a signature model for Josh Middleton. You might know him as the guitarist of Architects or Silosis. He is an incredibly talented guitar player. He's been around forever. I am not as familiar with Silosis, but I am very familiar with Architects, and it's so cool to see that he finally got his own signature model. It looks really sick. It's kind of like a classic M series, I was gonna say Ibanez, but LTD guitar. Speaking of, it is an LTD guitar, not an ESP, so it'll be a production model. So it'll be affordable. It won't be like the crazy ESP E2 ones that are crazy expensive. It's got a 25.5 inch scale length, which I thought was interesting given that he plays in Architects, and Architects tunes down to like F sharp, super low. A little weird, a little short scale length for that, but hey, I also know he plays like E standard for Silosis, so I guess it's kind of hard to get something that works for both. And I mean, if it works for him, I guess we can all tune to F sharp on a 25.5 inch scale guitar and stop complaining too. This one has the Fishman Fluence modern pickups. Once again, noticing a trend, lots of guitars have this year. So yeah, spec wise, it's nothing too crazy. I was more so just happy to see the guitarists of Architects get a signature guitar because I thought that was really cool. And I know, again, tons of Josh Middleton fans out there who probably don't care about Architects at all and care way more about Silosis. So it's cool for both parties, whether you like both bands or one band. It's just cool to see the guy succeed, you know? Next up, of course, we got the EC1000. This is like a timeless guitar. It is literally always good. Every single EC1000 I've ever owned, and I think I've had like 4 of them, are always good, always solid. They hold up so well over time. I've had ones that are like 10 years old and still solid as a rock. I've had brand new ones that are amazing. Either way, awesome guitars. So there's not really too much to report here because, you know, EC1000s are classic. Everyone knows what they look like. Of course, this one has a different finish. This is called the Gold Andromeda finish, which looks really cool. It's kind of like almost like a darker rose gold that's a little bit shiny, but not too shiny, still kind of satiny. Looks really cool. Once again, Fishman modern humbuckers, gold hardware, gold locking tuners. The interesting thing about this though is that I believe it has stainless steel frets. Yeah, it has 24 extra jumbo stainless steel frets, which is really cool. I don't think EC1000s have ever had that before, especially on the import models. And I believe that all LTD guitars in the 1000 range at least all have stainless steel frets now, which is really cool. Not something that they were offering before. So yeah, pretty awesome. So yeah, other than that, not too much to report on this guitar. It's an EC1000. If you've ever played one before, you know what to expect. But in this case, different pickups, stainless steel frets, that's a pretty decent improvement, I'd say. Next up, we're going to look at the expensive boy that I will definitely never own because it's way out of my price range for what I would pay. So this is the E2M2 7B Baritone Evertune. So this is like everything that I like in a guitar. It's sparkly, it's glossy, it's got an Evertune. It's a baritone, so it's got that long scale length. Again, it has those Fishman modern pickups, which I don't think I've ever actually tried somehow, even though they're apparently in every guitar ever right now. But yeah, so this is a 27-inch baritone guitar, which is great. I love 27-inch scale length. I have an LTD that is a 27-inch scale length, and I have it tuned all the way down to drop F. Sounds amazing, love it. This one's got Dunlop locking tuner, or sorry, Godot locking tuners, not Dunlop. 3-piece maple neck through construction, alder body. Again, of course, oh, interesting. This one has 24 extra jumbo frets, but it doesn't specify if it's stainless steel. That's kind of weird if the expensive one didn't have stainless steel. I'm pretty sure. It probably does. It must be an error. That would be super weird. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this guitar. Really cool looking. Love the finish. Love the sparkles. Love the Evertune, baritone. Everything about it is awesome, man. Gotta love that tuning stability that the Evertune brings to the table, especially with that extended scale length. Next up, we have the Arctic Metal series from ESP, which is really cool. So of course, they've had the Black Metal series for a couple years now. Again, I owned an EC Black Metal a few years back, and it was an awesome guitar. It's actually cheaper than their 1000 series, but I personally felt that the quality was actually exactly the same. I had both an EC 1000 and an EC Black Metal. To me, they felt the same, even though a lot cheaper. So I don't know, take that with a grain of salt, if you will. So yeah, Arctic Metal, basically the same thing as Black Metal, except it's white instead of black, obviously. And I think the other difference is these come with EMGs, whereas the Black Metal ones have Seymour Duncan Black Winters. So if you prefer active pickups, the Arctic Metal got the active, the Black Metal got the passive. Other than that, just the color. That's pretty much it. Last but not least for ESP is another Arctic Metal one. Of course, we gotta throw in the baritone 7-string. Again, much like that E2 that I was showing earlier, this is a 27-inch scale length, so it's got that extra length that I love for down tuning. This time around, it is a single pickup EMG, same as the other Arctic Metal guitar. Again, it's white instead of black because Arctic Metal. And this one has that EMG 81.7, and again, stainless steel frets. So if you want a no-nonsense guitar with one pickup, one volume, tune it super low, this is sick, okay? So I modded my personal ESP guitar to have only one pickup and only one volume knob, so anything that has that control scheme, I'm a fan. Okay, we got 2 companies left. These last 2 are really quick. So this one is actually Jackson, which weirdly enough, not a company I usually personally care for. I usually don't really like how Jackson guitars feel, but 2 of the guitars that they announced this year have got me rethinking. Maybe I do want to reach out to them and see if they want to work together after all. So first and foremost, we got this new Misha Mansour signature. So again, this is kind of like that Ibanez AZ where it gives you something that looks like a classic Strat, but it can do a little bit more, you know. Obviously Misha Mansour, periphery, he's a metal dude, you know. This one has the 2 single coil neck and middle, but it's got the humbucker and the bridge, so you can still do a little bit of metal with it, you know. I don't know, I'm always a fan of guitars that look classic, but then when you plug them in, you just like melt people's faces off, like they're totally expecting you to play some dad rock, and you plug it in and you start genting on a 6-string Stratocaster looking thing. I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. Misha, I get what you're coming from, man. And not only that, on this one, I thought the back of the neck looked super cool. It's got this like roasted maple neck and fretboard that look beautiful together. Caramelized maple, not roasted maple. Not entirely sure what the difference is. Definitely looks like roasted maple to me, but I guess I'm wrong. It also has an official licensed Fender headstock, which is interesting. Obviously, I know that Jackson is owned by Fender, but it's really weird to see a Fender headstock on not a Fender guitar, even if it is a company within the same family. That's pretty cool. I don't know how Misha was able to get away with that, but that's pretty sick, I must say. Okay, and then the next one we're gonna talk about is a really weird one for me because it's not something I think any of you think I would ever play, and I can't honestly see myself playing it, but I think it's a sick looking guitar and I think some of you guys will like it. So this is the Pro Series Signature Brandon Ellis Kelly with an ebony fingerboard and green crackle finish. Again, it's just like a badass looking guitar, man. I love crackle finishes. Obviously, I love green, so a crackle green is sick. This one also only has the 1 bridge pickup, 1 volume. My man, you get me. I don't like neck pickups. I don't like options. Give me the bridge and the volume, nothing else. This one has a Floyd, of course, which is not my personal thing. Again, I know lots of you guys like it, especially if you're a shredder like Brandon Ellis. So yeah, this guitar just looks awesome, man. And this is a little cheaper, it's $1,200 US. Okay, and then last but not least, this is not something that was announced in 2021, but I'm gonna let it slide and give it an honorable mention. So this was announced, I believe, on Halloween, and this is the Devin Schittiker model from Balaguer Guitars. If you don't know who Devin Schittiker is, he is the guitarist of the legendary deathcore band, the Acacia Strain. So at this point in time, these guitars are sold out, but I just wanted to highlight them because they look so badass. Pretty much all the time when you see a 7-string or 8-string right now, usually they're pretty much gonna be a super Strat or a single cut like Les Paul looking thing. I thought it was really cool to see something like this, which is obviously more similar to like an Ibanez Xiphos or something along those lines. It's pointy, it's obnoxious, and it totally matches the Acacia Strains aesthetic, and I think it looks sick. Again, as I mentioned many times during this video, single bridge pickup, single volume. You guys get me, man. I'm so happy to see more options, or sorry, less options on more guitars, I guess I should say. But yeah, these two guitars are sick. They're currently sold out, but I believe you can build one using Balaguer's online web builder if you just use the Tartarus shape. And if you're unfamiliar with Balaguer guitars, basically you can build a custom guitar for pretty cheap. Well, maybe not cheap, but it's very affordable considering it's a custom guitar. I think they range from anywhere from like $1,400 to like $2,400, let's say. So if you want to spec out a custom guitar that's pretty bare bones, you can actually get one that's pretty affordable on here. You know, some of those Jacksons and Ibanez's that I was looking at earlier were about the same price as that. So if you want to customize it, Balaguer guitars is a pretty good option. And again, that Tartarus model is super sick. Okay guys, so that is going to be it for this video. Again, there's a few companies left that I would like to see guitars from, and there are other companies that have released stuff that I just personally wasn't interested in. Like I know obviously Gibson and Fender released their stuff, but it just didn't really speak to me personally. So if that is more your speed, maybe go look those up after this video. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. Hopefully I showed you guys a couple new guitars that you might want to check out. Again, really bummed that I can't actually go and get my hands on these and make videos in person. So this will have to do. I hope you guys still enjoyed this video. I want to give a big shout out to all my Patreon members whose names are on the screen at this point in time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Look forward to reading your comments. Let me know what guitars you're excited for in 2021 and what companies you want to see me work with. That's all I got to say. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.